Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Discord channel to Elevating Traders, completely free to join, linked in the description below. You can chat with traders, share ideas. I share some of my ideas there as well. So if you're looking to discuss, chat with other traders, see what people are looking to get involved with, check out the Discord, free to join, link in the description and also at the top of the chat. But as always, guys, we'll go through the USD side of things first, take a look at what's happening with the dollar, USD majors, gold and silver. Any requests, drop it down in the chat, we'll take a look as well. Of course, let me know any particular time frames you do want me to take a look at as well. But first things first, we will start with the dollar, which did end off the week pretty bearish. We did break through lows, had a bit of a pullback and a retest as well. The analysis is pretty straightforward for the dollar. We are bearish until we turn bullish, basically. So I'm expecting lower lows and lower highs until I see something like this breaking through highs here. If I do see a move like this happen this week, that tells me, okay, potentially we are forming a bit of a low, a bottom at this area, and we could be looking at a break of structure, a higher low, and some more upside, because the dollar is still quite stretched. We've been falling since the start of the year, pretty much Jan 13th. We've been in a very nice bearish trend, so I do think upsides on the cards eventually with USD, but right now the bears are in control. We're still very consistent with all of these lower highs, so as long as that remains true, then dollar of course can keep falling. Just before the week ended, we had a nice retest of support here, turn resistance, pretty strong rejection. Looks like price is on its way to go test the lows again. So USD still looking bearish. We'll keep monitoring that. At this rate, we'll probably see another push into the lows, and we'll go from there, see how the trend does continue. I'm not so much interested in shorting the dollar, mainly because risk reward's not looking too good. Yeah, I'm already at lows, so I think from an intraday standpoint, you might find some nice intraday trades. Take dollar back into the lows, maybe Euro USD back into the highs. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I'm not really interested in trying to short the dollar until we get another bigger pullback. But at the moment, still a successful retest. What would be nice is if the dollar was to charge back into resistance again, and then maybe have a sell late in the week. That could be a really nice trade to take it back into the lows. But as I said, as long as price doesn't take out this swing high, at 99.4, I do remain pretty bearish. So taking a look at Euro USD, which again is doing pretty much the exact opposite. Had a nice retest of this wick here just about, that was not yesterday, last week actually, on Friday. And again, a very strong close again this morning. So Euro USD in a similar situation. We've taken up major highs. Trend is still looking pretty bullish. We've been trending since, again, around 13th, 14th of Jan this year. And we've been pretty solid since then. But again, because we have been quite corrective, the market's been trending for a while. I do think Euro can look to potentially have a bigger pullback / reversal at some point. And that's kind of what I'm waiting to see if it does kind of happen this week. But of course, at the moment, bullish structure, very, very present here. So again, similar to the dollar, looking to continue that bullish structure until we see signs of it not continuing. So again, in terms of an opportunity, unless you're already long on Euro USD, you probably do want price to pull back and retest that zone again. And then we can talk about a push back into the highs and maybe some higher highs as well. So yeah, Euro USD still pretty bullish, trend still up, still consistent with the higher lows. We've taken out some major highs to our left there. So again, I'm not so optimistic about buying the market, especially as a swing position. It's a little bit too high up for me, but day trading, I think you might be able to find some nice buys, especially if you do pull back to retest that same zone around 1.15. So keep an eye on that for Euro USD. Pound USD will kind of flat, but if you can break highs, I think it can look a lot interesting. So you can kind of see we're squeezing with these higher lows and this level of resistance, similar to what pound yen's doing actually. We've got equal highs there, but we are still kind of staying consistent with these higher lows. So pound USD is just waiting for that green light either to break the resistance or break the trend line. If we're going to reverse, I'm looking for something like that. If we're going to continue, I'm looking at something like that. And I'm just going to stay pretty neutral for pound because I can see price moving in any direction really. If USD is going to stay weak, then I would expect us to break high, and then we can talk about some retests and some buying opportunities from then onwards. Again, pound USD similar to euro, very clear uptrend. We've taken up major highs. So far, we're doing pretty well to stay above them. Prior resistance there is doing a pretty good job at staying above that and using it as support. So everything does look pretty bullish for pound. Just in terms of a good buying opportunity, you want to see price break the high well, and then we can discuss some pullbacks and some retests. As for targets, I mean, I've looked on the higher time frames. There is some structure back here, 1.363, 1.37. I think those are some areas we could probably target, and we've actually already hit the first one. So I'll be looking at the next high, 1.37, next big psychological level as well. That might be a nice target to have. But again, you're kind of trading in fresh highs. We haven't been here since 2022, I think. So you probably want to trail stops and just see how far we can take it. But 1.37, I think, will be a smart place to lock in some gains. Dollar CAD, still pretty bearish, but again, not really interested in shorting the pair. We've been falling to the downside for quite a while. We're now coming back into some major areas of demand where we did see a very big move to the upside not too long ago. We're back there at these prices again. I do think we can bounce, but of course it will depend heavily on what USD is going to do. If DXY stays bearish and keeps falling, well, it's going to be very difficult for dollar CAD to see some upside there. But we are in an area of interest where I'm looking to buy. Again, we've been falling for quite a while. I'm not really interested in continuing to short the pair. Now that we're in this area, I'm looking for signs of reversal, double bottoms, higher lows to take to the upside. Again, nothing too crazy. If I can ride it back to some of these highs here, that would be great. I'm not necessarily looking for a reversal here for dollar CAD, although a reversal could happen. I'm just trying to see if I can take advantage of a counter trend move, and we'll see how it goes from there onwards. But yeah, dollar CAD coming back into the zone, not interested in shorting at all, and just going to keep an eye on the longing opportunities. But yeah, still bearish, so hold your horses with the buys as of yet. Aussie dollar still very corrective, still kind of just chugging away to the upside. Very, very dry price action. Not a lot to do with this one. I've talked about waiting for price to push to the upper end of the channel, where I think there could be some nice shorting opportunities. The market's been pretty consistent, and if we do spike into the high again, as long as we see some healthy rejection, I think that's a great place to be shorting and expecting to see a lower move into the channel. You can see we've got the kind of the middle dotted line here, which represents the middle of the channel. This is kind of the area of the most kind of fluctuation in this indecision. So I don't really want to be finding entries here, especially when it looks like price is now consolidating within the channel, which is just absolutely horrendous. So if we could push higher, take out some highs here, come back into some fresh territory, if we could see some healthy rejection there, well, I think that's a great place to short and anticipate a swing back into the low and maybe even further as well. But that's really the opportunity I'm interested in. Aussie dollar is on the watch list for myself, so definitely going to keep an eye on that opportunity as the week continues. New Zealand dollar, kind of a similar situation to Aussie dollar, both very, very corrective. So I do think a bigger pullback is going to happen. I'm not so interested in shorting this one, just because there's a pretty big level of support and resistance running through the market, and that could become a little bit like an obstacle for the sellers, because I could imagine we could use that support to continue higher. And now I know NZUSD and Aussie dollar, they're going to do the same thing. If Aussie dollar is going to melt out the sky, then New Zealand dollar most likely will do that as well. But technically, I do favor Aussie dollar over NZUSD. But it's the same situation. We've been pushing up for a while now. Market's still very corrective, very tired. So I do think the bigger pullback will be a push down for NZUSD. There might again be some nice sells at the top of the channel, so if we were to do something like that, again, I think we'll probably get a nice sell, but watch out for this area. It could add to support to send us back higher again, and we might continue within that channel. But very corrective behavior, looking forward for the sells. Yeah, I do think we can see a push down at some point, but I think it's still too early to say. In terms of gold, so gold looking pretty bullish. We had a strong move to the upside just before the week ended. So Thursday, Friday, looking pretty good. And yeah, looking to see if we can get pushed back into the highs at 3,500. Overall, the market is still very bullish. Again, just a quick scan of the higher time frame, see what the market is doing. It's a very, very bullish market we have right there. So I wouldn't really be looking for sells until I see some obvious signs that things are shifting. And yeah, naturally targets back at 3,500, back at the all-time high. So as I mentioned on the weekly analysis, if you haven't checked it out, go and do so. But we've got a clean area of resistance here, which of course has now broken and could be acting as an area of support. So we'll see what price does here. I think maybe on like an hourly chart, this could present some nice buying opportunities. Maybe a nice double bottom can arise, a strong shift of momentum as entry signal, at least a swing back to the high 3,450, but I would be looking at 3,500, just trying to continue the overall trend there for gold. But yeah, I'll be keeping a close eye on this level, 3,400 we'll call it. A lot of momentum, higher time frames agree with the idea, so I quite like what I'm seeing with gold. And silver is also very, very bullish as well. It doesn't look like silver's going to give me the pullback I'm after, however. Again, the breakout was very, very clean. Took out these highs like it wasn't even there. And I do still have expectations of a push to 40 for silver. So I am very, very bullish on the market. And I like it because gold and silver are starting to look like they're on the same page in terms of their direction, which is a good confidence to have. But yeah, silver a bit flat right now. Not a lot to do with the market. If we don't get the breaking retest of this area, this would be my preferred level to try and get a opportunity from. But let's say if the market just kind of consolidates and does nothing for a while, if we were to see a sharp break to the upside through this area, well, then that area will become my interest for a buy. Yeah, we probably won't get that breaking retest down there. But if we see another healthy breakout similar to this happen over here as well, then yeah, I would be looking at a retest of that zone. And again, similar targets back at 40, but I'll just be trading stops. I won't have a hard target in for silver because I think this can really, really fly if the conditions are right. So yeah, silver, very bullish on this one as well. Just waiting for a good opportunity, whether it's the kind of a build-up of consolidation and a break and retest, or we do come lower and retest that daily zone. We have to wait and see. But in terms of direction, very happy with this one, only looking really to buy the market. And yeah, that's kind of where I am at with silver, gold, USD pairs as a whole. USD is still very weak right now. Again, I'm not so interested in selling the dollar because we've already had such a big move. I'm kind of looking to go against it if I see the opportunity for it. But yeah, dollar's still weak. Gold, silver still very strong. I think there might be some nice buys for those in particular. But what is up, people? Welcome back to the stream. 254 Flipper. What is up? Hello, hello. Hope you're well. William, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Ivan, good morning. Hope you're good. Hey, appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the thumbnail. Yeah, I do like it as well. D-Mark, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Hope everyone is doing good. Hope everyone had a good weekend as well. My weekend was good. Thanks for asking, Will. But yeah, I am interested in Aussie CAD. I was actually talking about Aussie CAD literally at the end of the Friday stream last week. I said I was interested in some buys. I didn't quite see the entry I was looking for. I was hoping for a bit more momentum. But basically, I'm looking to see if price is going to respect this low and potentially reverse the upside. I'm still looking to see if Aussie CAD can come back and attack the highs around 0.91. So I think there's a pretty juicy swing on the cards here for Aussie CAD. We have closed quite confidently below the low, so potentially Aussie CAD might want to be continuing to the downside. That could be the case. But sometimes price does break resistance support just to go and recover it back again and see the move. The market's not perfect. We're not always going to see a perfect retest and price just kind of rebounds perfectly and turns around. Sometimes it will break a level completely and recover it again. And that's kind of what I'm looking to see if Aussie CAD can do. We are starting to find support just below. I'm kind of waiting for a strong close back above. And I'm actually going to be looking at the 8-hour time frame to see if we can get that. Which again, very similar to the 4-hour chart, just combining 2 4-hour candles really. But if we can get a strong close back above, that will give me the confidence to say, okay, support is potentially still holding. That might have been a bit of a fake out. Entries back above, stops below the low. And we've got a pretty nice healthy target back into there. Yeah, at least the 1 to 2, which should do the job. Probably look at resistance here as well. But we're very much trading in an area where it's a make or break for my bullish bias, because if price well and truly is breaking through this, perhaps we come back for a retest and continue lower. Well, I won't be looking to buy Aussie CAD at that point. Maybe we're probably going to push back into these lows, or maybe these lows here. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye to see how we develop. I would say Aussie CAD's probably my favored pair at the moment, just because of how everything's setting up and the fact that we're not too far away from an entry. If I do see price recover on that next 8-hour candle, which closes in 3 hours and 37 minutes, I could find myself in an Aussie CAD long position, hopefully this afternoon. So Aussie CAD is definitely not too far away from an opportunity. I'll go through the rest of the pairs on my watch list. I've got quite a few, but quite a few pairs do need some work before I do get some entries for them. Morning Wax, good morning, hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Marcus, what is up? Hope you're well. Do you think CHF will weaken after their probable rate cut? I am looking for it. I was taken out of Aussie CHF at break even last week, but I do think the bigger move is still to the upside, so I'm quite keen to see if I can find some entries for kind of any of the CHF pairs really. But I kind of do prefer Aussie CAD and New Zealand CHF because they're coming from all-time lows. So I expect bigger moves for those pairs in particular. I think CHF pairs can see some upside. I do expect to see CHF weakness, not only from a technical standpoint, but of course fundamentally as well. If we do see what we're kind of expecting, I do think that could be a recipe for CHF weakness and some buys for some CHF pairs, and also maybe some sells for CHF JPY as well, Swiss yen. Depends what the yen's doing, of course. If the yen's going to be weak as well, it's going to be a battle to see who's weaker. But I think Swiss yen's also come back to a nice level where we could turn around too. So I've got eyes on that pair too. But yeah, Aussie CHF, it looks like I was just a little bit too early to the party. I was long here. Stops below the low. We did break structure just about, which allowed me to go to break even. Then I was trailed. I was kind of hoping to hold this position into the news this week for the CHF, but yeah, the market had one big sell-off there, which did knock me out. But hopefully we can get back into some positions. I do think there's still upside, because again, if you look at the higher time frames, especially for a lot of the CHF pairs, we're trading at all-time lows here. We might have another drop potentially. Never say never, of course, but I do think the bigger move will be to the upside. So I'm really just looking for buying opportunities. At the moment, we do have quite confident bearish structure here, so I have to be patient. But say something like that does set up, which I'm not too sure was set up before the news comes out, but maybe something like that does set up. Maybe after the news, that would be nice. Trade it back into highs and back into this big level over there will be the target. But something like that would interest me. For Aussie CHF. $100% 254. Any pairs you're looking at, feel free to let us know. We'll take a look at them. I'll go through my watch list to start things off, but of course, any requests, let me know. Excuse me. That's the attitude, Demo. Hopefully, a good week ahead. Lesogo, what is up? Yes, we'll take a look at CAD Gen as well. Money Vidi. What type of trader you use? Swing trader. My kind of average hold time for my positions, I'll say, is between a couple days to potentially a couple weeks. If things go very well and I catch a big swing, I could look to ride it even sometimes more than a couple weeks, but that's kind of the average. But anyway, I'll go through CAD GM. So yeah, CAD JPY, the yen pairs have been quite interesting. Yen has been pretty weak, so we've seen the yen pairs climb higher, but again, I'm not really looking to follow them to the upside. There's a couple yen pairs which look okay. We can go take a look at them in a second. CAD yen, I think if we can see a big breakout, I wouldn't mind some buys on CAD yen, because in fairness to this one, all we've been doing for the past few months really is just consolidate. We've got equal lows down here, we've got equal highs roughly up there. If we were to see a strong break above this, well, that is a strong signal to me that says buyers are now back in control of the market and we are likely to continue to the upside. Of course, as long as we don't break back in, then that would give us a big fake out, and that would not be a bullish signal at that point. But if we can remain above, absolutely, I think that would be a really nice buy opportunity. And targets, we can look at some of the highs here to our left. I think those will make some smart targets to have as well. But yeah, CAD Gen, we are trading some resistance. Equally, we could break out of this level. We could reject it and turn back around. Now, I'm not so favored to try and trade within consolidation. Not really my forte. I'm normally kind of focusing on the breakout opportunities because that's where the momentum lies. And you would expect that's where the bigger move lies as well, especially markets that have been consolidating for a while. If they do break out, you do expect to see some big explosive moves. So those are the type of moves I want to try and get involved in. So yeah, waiting for price to really make its mind up whether it's going to reject this level or break through. And again, I want to see a clean kind of decent sized breakout. If it kind of just closes above slightly, I'm not going to be looking for a retest straight away. I need price to really kind of show to me that from a higher time frame standpoint, we are well and truly likely to push higher. That could involve a nice daily close or something like that. But yeah, if we can see a strong breakout, a retest of the zone, 106, 250, we'll call it. I think that's a smart place for a buy. And we've got some targets up there we can look at. But yeah, CAD Gem is kind of waiting for the buying opportunities. If I just go through my watch list quickly. So as I spoke, Aussie CAD looking for longs for this one. Going to keep a close eye if we can recover that low and then hopefully swing it back into resistance. As for some of the crosses, I'm also keeping an eye on pound NTD. I'm looking to see if I can find some shorts. We've had, or we're having, what kind of looks like a head and shoulder pattern here. We've got a left, a head, and a right shoulder. I'm still looking to see if I can catch the bigger sell to the downside. But I need price to be back at resistance right now, kind of the middle of nowhere really. So I'm not trying to find any entries here. I'm looking to see if we can push back into resistance again. And if I can find some entries from that level, stops above the high, and looking to target the lows here. That would still very much be the plan. We recently did break out this kind of channel here. So I'm kind of hoping to see us continue back to resistance. We could sell off from there, but I'm not really seeing a worthy opportunity to get involved. It's kind of in the middle of all this noise, so I wouldn't feel safe putting my stop loss above the highs. I feel like the market can very much go and grab that. But stop loss above here, of course, that can happen as well, but I feel a little bit safer being at the high, where I can try and catch that right shoulder and swing it back into the lows. So pound NZD, I like the sells with this one, keeping a close eye for the shorts back into the low. As I said, I'm keeping a close eye on a lot of the CHF pairs. New Zealand CHF is quite flat, but I do think we can start to trend soon. I'm looking to see if price can clear the resistance here and find some opportunities on the retest. This might be an opportunity probably for next week because we've got a lot of work to do, but who knows, if CHF becomes very weak, we could see this happen sooner rather than later, and then we can talk about some opportunities. But New Zealand CHF, another CHF pair which is coming back from all-time lows, so I do expect a pretty big recovery from this one, so keeping a close eye. And another CHF pair I'm looking at is CHF JPY, which I'll be looking to try and catch a short. You can see price trading at major resistance here. I wouldn't even mind if we push back to the highs there as well. But we've been trending up for a while. I'm looking for the reversal for this one. At the moment, the market's still very bullish. I'm still seeing a very clear-cut bullish trend here, so being very careful with that. If I can see price start to shift, form some lower highs, well, these are the type of opportunities I want to get involved in, because that's where I expect the bigger move to be. So maybe a retest of some structure and we get in from there. But in terms of where we're trading, I like it at some extremes where reversal could occur. Of course, if the market stays bullish, we could very much rally and keep flying. If that's the case, I would stay away from that. But if I see momentum come in, and of course some bearish structure come in, that does invite me into some positions. In terms of the USD pairs, dollar CAD, I'm keeping a close eye on for some buys. Again, still very bearish at the moment, but we are coming back into a very massive area of demand where we did see this massive bullish leg from, and now we're coming back to trade in the same area. So I do think buyers could be looking to step into the market, and possibly some counter trend moves, or maybe even a reversal could come around from this area. So I'm looking for equal lows, high lows to start to print, and those would be my opportunities to enter some longs. And we've got some kind of nearby targets to look at for dollar CAD there. But I really like the buys for dollar CAD. Very nice zone. We're kind of squeezing in this channel, so to speak. So I'm seeing signs that the market is tiring, which of course does add a bit of a confluence to the longs. But yeah, still very bearish, so being very careful from there onwards. And yeah, those are the main pairs I'm looking at. Also, Euro Yen, I'm seeing if I can find some sells for this one. We've approached a massive level of resistance to our left here as well. I forgot about this one. Really nice area where, again, we could potentially look for a big sell. I'm still not sold on a push back to the highs there. I feel like if price is going to break through the highs here, well, Euro Yen's probably going to push back to the highs at 175, 176. I'm not quite confident on that move just yet. I think price has still got some sells to give us, so I'm keeping a close eye. I think this is a nice area for a short. But of course, the market's still bullish. Need things to turn around first before we do jump into anything. So it would be nice a break of structure, taking out some lows. Then maybe you can find some lower highs to get involved with. But until then, buys remain in control, and we could still very much push higher. So be careful, because a lot of these opportunities, we need price to reverse first before we do jump in. Otherwise, you're kind of jumping in front of a moving train there. But definitely trading some interesting areas. What's up, CS Integrated? Hope you're well. Welcome to another stream. Kingsley, hope you're good. All is well with me. Thanks. Hope you're good too. Yes, we'll take a look at USD and Euro as well. I did actually look at these last week. So yeah, with USD, I do think we are in need of a bit of retracement. We've been falling to the downside for quite a while, and I think the market is a bit stretched now. So I do think after taking out some lows like these, we're probably going to see a bit of a reaction. We already have sort of seen one, but I would expect something a little bit bigger. I do think the bigger move for USD could take us back into the lows at 17. If I go to the weekly chart, you can see price had a really big reaction into the high there, rejected it very aggressively. So to me, the market is pretty flat, but the fact that we are still taking out these lows kind of tell me the bigger move still is likely to be to the downside. But I would wait for something like this to happen, a push up to form a lower high, and then maybe we get the sell. So as we trade at these areas, I would naturally be looking to try and buy the market. We've still got a nice area of kind of demand to our left here. I'll be looking to see if we can find some higher lows. Still a bit more of an aggressive position, but I would definitely keep an eye out. I think if we can drop to the hourly chart, maybe something in this area, if you can see maybe a nice double bottom, I think that could be a nice buy back into resistance. And then I would expect us to go a lot further as well. So I actually quite like the buys here. With USD based on how we're trading, very correct to move, taking up major lows. Like I said, trading in a strong area of demand. We're starting to see some bullish structure come into the market as well. So at least we've got that indication that things are turning. And I think in terms of risk to reward, you can find an entry that looks something like this. I think not only can you take it back to the high here, but I think we can go a lot further than that as well. Possibly this big wick there. Nice area of supply, spiked higher. A lot of momentum came through. I would expect us to at least go and revisit an area like that around 18.3. So yeah, USDZR, I do favor buys for this one. Taking out major lows, I do think the market's quite stretched. We're seeing higher highs and higher lows on the hourly chart build up well. Like I said, we've got a nice area of demand to our left here. I do think this is a smart place for a buy. And then we can speak about some sells, but I think we've probably got another week at least before we discuss that. So for now, we can just focus on the buys. If the market does rip through the lows again, I'll probably still be looking for the buying opportunities, but again, I'll wait for things to shift first and then look for buys again. But yeah, we'll see if that area can hold. And in terms of Eurozar, have I looked at this one recently? I think so. But yeah, with Eurozar, with this one, similar to USDZR in terms of we had a massive move to the highs, we took out the highs. But this one is kind of still respecting some areas of demand. We had this area over here. Price just, did it actually test or did it miss? Let me move this out of the way. Yeah, just about tested that wick and bounced from there. Very strong close last week as well. It was a very nice consolidation and it has left behind some structure. So I would keep an eye on this high in particular. I think that's a very smart place for a buy and where we potentially could push back to 21. I wouldn't probably try and push it further than that. You know, we still do have major resistance running through the market at the highs here. So I would be careful as we approach that area, but I do like the buys here for Eurozar as well. And it's nice to see that USDZR and Eurozar are kind of giving us the same bias in terms of we've had a big move down. Looks like a bottom is forming. Price is now breaking structure to the upside. Of course, Eurozar had a much bigger break of structure because Euro has been a lot stronger than USD. But kind of same idea. And now we've got a lovely high to come back and retest and hopefully continue that journey. So yeah, Eurozar, USDZR, I'll be bullish on both of them. I think there's room to the upside for both of them. Yeah, I think the bigger move for both of them might still be down, to be honest. But for now, I think at least for this week, this next week or two, I'll be focusing on some buys for both of them. So yeah, hopefully that made sense. Excuse me. Money. It depends. It depends what type of trader, what type of, how big of a move you're trying to catch. If you're a scalper, you're probably looking at like even a 15-minute chart to determine bias, and then you may be looking at 5-minute or 1-minute for entries. If you're a swing trader, more like myself, I'm using predominantly the daily chart for direction, and I'm using 4 hours for my entry. Could even use the weekly time frame for direction as well, even the monthly too. So it depends on your kind of what type of trader you are and what type of move you're trying to catch. You're trying to catch 20 pips, you're trying to catch 200 pips. That really is the question, and that will tell you what time frame you should be looking at for your analysis. Because if you're going to enter on the 1-minute chart, but you're analyzing everything on the daily, there's a big discrepancy between the daily chart and the 1-minute time frame. So it's too big of a time frame to focus on. If you're going to enter on the 1-minute, I would suggest something like 15. If you're going to enter on like an hourly, you can use the daily or a 4-hour chart for direction. Amith, welcome to the stream. Hope you're good. Thoughts on gold and Ethereum. So yeah, gold's looking pretty bullish. I think gold looks a lot better. We had that kind of break and retest of that descending channel not too long ago. And since then, we've of course ripped through the highs. So yeah, gold for me is now pretty clear in its direction. We've got higher highs and higher lows. The overall trend is still very bullish. Yeah, as a whole, if I zoom out very quickly, you can see overall we've been on a nice trajectory to the upside. So I would still expect a swing back into resistance here at 3,500, and a break and retest of the high, I think makes a lot of sense for some entries. I would be looking at like the hourly chart to try and get involved. Maybe a nice double bottom could be enough to get into an entry, but the way I see it, the overall trend is up. Current trend of the 4 hour hourly chart is up. We've got some nice structure just below us around 3,400. I think that's a smart place to be looking for some entries and targets back at highs, but I probably wouldn't target the high. I probably just keep targets open and trail stops, because in this climate you don't know with gold. We might push into the high, bounce and come back down again. We might push into the high, rip into 3,600, maybe 3,700. You know, gold does have that in its locker, so kind of trading stops will allow you to take advantage of the bigger market. Now, trading stops are great to use, but you have to know when to use them and in which conditions do they perform best. Of course, in heavily trending markets, trading stops perform amazing because you know, if there's a lot of momentum and you're trading behind it, you know, you take advantage of very big moves. Of course, if things are very choppy, you don't use trading stops, but these are prime conditions for a trading stop. Again, nothing wrong with taking profits at the high, but I think you will be doing yourself a disservice. If you do break high, you could be kicking yourself. But yeah, that's kind of really where I'm at with gold. Very bullish, higher highs and higher lows. I would also keep an eye on this area here as well. This is kind of where the high low started. If the market was to have a deeper correction, kind of coming back into this trend line area, we might tap into this kind of area of demand and then continue. I would expect this one because momentum still looks pretty good, but if we were to have a deeper correction, as long as we don't break structure, so as long as we don't do something like that, I remain bullish for gold. As long as we can hold on to at least this area, I would still be looking at a drive back into 3,500 and beyond. But yeah, very, very bullish here for gold. Ethereum, last time I looked at Ethereum, we were trapped in a consolidation. Is that still the case? Yep, it looks like it is still the case. So we did have a bit of a fake out. Price did close above, but of course we can see it close straight back below. So a little bit of a false breakout there for Ethereum, catching some people on the wrong side. Now, again, when we're trading in the middle of the range, I'm not trying to predict which way price is going to go because, again, it doesn't even make any sense for me to do that because I will only look for opportunities once we've got the breakout. So even if I do predict the wrong direction, well, if we do break out to the downside, for example, I will be looking for shorts. If we break to the upside, I'll be looking for long. So in terms of predicting which way, there's no real need really. Just wait for it to happen and then we go from there. But yeah, still very much within the range. Had a nice breakout, didn't quite give us the retest to continue. Let's see maybe if price can recover that. If not, if we are going to sell off, let's wait for a break of 2,400 and then we can look for some shorts. I'll probably be looking at a push back into this area. That's where all the bullish momentum came from. I think that'll be a smart place to try and see if we can get to again. But yeah, Ethereum, not a lot to talk about really. Just still stuck within the range here. You know, we're looking bullish now, but potentially we might smash into resistance this afternoon and come right back down again. So not really too, I don't really want to go into too much detail in here because it is more kind of just market fluctuation rather than kind of something we can really understand and base a trade from. So yeah, just waiting for resistance or support to clear and then hopefully some opportunities afterwards. But I would stay away from trading within that range. What's up, Julius? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yes, I do have a Discord channel with Elevating Traders. It's linked in the description below. You can check it out. I do post some of my trades there. Other people post some of their trades there as well. I discuss, chat with other people about different ideas, discuss anything trading related really. So if you are interested to join the community, check it out. It's linked in the description. Completely free to join. And of course, that goes for everyone as well. Check it out if you are interested. It is linked in the description. Julius, view on silver. Okay, we'll take a look. Ameth, no problem. Happy to help. So yeah, with silver, yeah, silver very bullish. So silver's pretty straightforward for me in terms of what I'm looking for. Yeah, ever since we had the breakout, I've been looking for the retest of 34.7, just below 35. Of course, unfortunately, that hasn't been the case so far. I'm not going to rule that out because, you know, all it takes is one decent down move and we're trading at those levels. So I'm still very much focused on trying to find some buys at that level for the continuation. We're already looking a bit tired right now. A lot of sideways price action. I think a retracement is on the cards. If we don't get that and the market does just kind of continue to consolidate and just, you know, stay in this area, move flat, then if we don't get the pullback, let's say if we do get a strong break to the upside, well, this zone will now become a very attractive place for a break and retest. So that would then be my area of interest if we're not going to get the pullback back down there. So yeah, I mean, silver in terms of what I'm looking to do is pretty straightforward, just looking to buy and follow that momentum. Silver has been ranging for quite some time now in this kind of area. We've now picked our direction. Now I'm expecting to see a similar move to the upside as the height of this kind of range. So, you know, I'm at least looking for a push into 40. I know it is slightly above 40, but 40 is a big psychological level, so we'll just call it even there. But I'm expecting a lot of momentum and a pretty big move, similar to what we've had with gold, with a lot of momentum, a big breakout. I think silver can go mimic that to a degree and give us a nice bullish move. So yeah, just keeping it simple with silver, a lot of momentum in the market, waiting for a retest and some buys shortly afterwards. And USO particularly, yeah, that's true as well. Of course, there's going to be a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty regarding oil, and that has caused price to spike quite dramatically. We've, of course, had that really sharp move there to the upside recently, and it's going to be a very volatile market. Maybe not the best time to trade it, to be honest, or at least with tight stop losses, just because of how expansive the price action can be. You know, you might be in the right direction, but the market might expand, take you out the trade, and then move. So it's going to be a very difficult chart to trade, I would say, especially from like a short-term point of view. Long-term, if you have some wide stop losses, you'll get away with it, depending. But yeah, with oil, since we have recovered this, I do think we can probably see a bit of a push back down. But this is still a very significant level of support. So from a technical standpoint, I'll still very much keep an eye from 66. I think maybe we might see a reaction and oil probably see some lower prices, but I do still have a bullish bias as long as price is above 66. If we were to break back below that, then yeah, we probably will drop back to the lows here. But I am quite bullish on oil on the higher time frames. 66 is kind of a really big level, and if price can respect that well, I think a decent swing position can come around. But we've had a very erratic move. We've taken out highs here. I think we're due a bit of a pullback. We're looking a tad bearish right now. Of course, price can fluctuate very aggressively kind of at any point in time, really, so need to take that into consideration. But I do think price can have a bounce at this area if we get there. And I think that'll be a very smart place to go long as well. And probably take it right back to where we came from. So, yeah, oil, I would be looking at buys around 66. Let's see if we can get there. I do think we can see some downside for oil anyway. But 66 would be a smart place for a buy. And where we can go a lot further as well. You know, probably back to the highs there too. Because at this point in time, this looks like a big fake out to me. You can extend the level across there. It's a very significant level for oil, 66. But yeah, of course, with the war, of course, it has kind of made things more uncertain. People are not taking risk. People are more putting money into gold. So I think that's another reason gold could see higher prices. Silver, for the most part, could see higher prices as well. The yen should gain some strength as well. I think that will be interesting to see if that happens, because I'm interested in shorting Swiss yen. I'm interested in shorting Euro yen. I think Swiss is going to be the interesting one, because you've of course got Swiss news as well coming up soon. And if that does come out bearish for Swiss, then you could be looking at a very weak currency against a relatively strong one as well. So there could be a pretty big move down for Swiss yen over the next coming days. Euro yen's another interesting one. I think this is trading at a very, very nice level where we can turn around too. But again, just need to wait for price action to give me the green light before I do short it. In terms of the other yen pairs, I haven't really been too keen on them. Pound yen, kind of just squeezing between resistance and this trend line, waiting for price to make its move really before I kind of follow with a move, a trade idea, because if price does break to the upside, well, there's still room for us to push into the high there just below 200. I would expect us to make a move there. If the market does break through the trend line to the downside and respects this area, well, I do think we can see a swing all the way back down to 186, 187. So I can see price going both ways, but I'm not going to try and force anything, especially when price is still within this kind of wedge pattern. I'll wait for price to make a move. Similar to pound USD, we've got equal highs, high low squeezing. Price is eventually going to pick its direction, and then after that we can probably find some nice opportunities to follow. Whether it's going to look like that or like that is yet to be seen, but yeah, I've got targets up and down, just waiting for pound yen to make its move. Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, for the most part, these guys have been bullish, but they are starting to run out momentum a little bit and become a bit more flat. I mean, from a high time frame point of view, I'm still liking this kind of inverse head and shoulder pattern on the Aussie yen. So you got your lows there, taking that support across, acting as support there as well. I still do think we can drive back into resistance. Same thing for New Zealand yen, although the setup I wouldn't say is as good as Aussie. Ideally, I wanted New Zealand yen to push back into this low, but kind of had a pullback anyway, and the market's had a nice rally. I think for Aussie yen, yeah, I'm finding it difficult to find some entries really. I know we had this kind of dramatic push down, and price is respecting that level, but didn't really provide a nice entry for it. Now, I would even argue that the market's starting to kind of consolidate a little bit, so price action isn't looking very, very good anymore. Maybe if we have another push down, a deeper test of that level, that might interest me for a long, because I still do think Aussie yen can push back into resistance here. 95.5, maybe even higher as well. But I'm going to play it safe and kind of just wait to see if price can come to me. I think out the yen pairs, Euro yen and Swiss yen do the job for me. Swiss yen in particular might give it a very interesting move, but need to stay patient. You can see where we're trading, and you know we've got the news coming up this week. Let me just go through the calendar quickly. So as for today, we've got retail sales for the US, 1:30 UK time. And then, wait, no, that's, okay, no, sorry. Today we've got manufacturing index at 1:30, again US. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we've got Bank of Japan interest rate decision. That's expected to come out the same. That's 4 in the morning UK time as well. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the yen with that. And then in the afternoon, we've got retail sales for USD. And then Wednesday, inflation, GBP, CPI for Euro. Building permits, jobless claims, USD in the afternoon. Ooh, Fed interest rate in the evening, 7 p.m. Again, rates expected to stay the same as well with the US, 4.5 to 4.5. But that will be interesting. And then, of course, we've got Aussie unemployment rates just before the Swiss interest rate decision. Rates are expected to cut there for Swiss, so we might be seeing a weak Swiss off the back of that. That's Thursday morning. And then you've got pound interest rate as well. I forgot about that. I've got pound as well. So you got USD, you got yen, you got Swiss, and you've got pound, all in the same week. So yeah, very interesting week up ahead. Very interesting week. Definitely want to stay on top of that. Hey, what's up? Long time no see. Love the New York Stock Exchange. Appreciate it. Yeah, I want to spice up the thumbnail design. Got a few more of those coming your way. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the thumbnail. But what's up, my man? Hope you've been well. No problem, Julius. Happy to help. Hey, I appreciate it. Gentle reminders, kindly smash the like button and sub. Appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and do subscribe to the channel. It does really help the content, does me a favor, helps get the content out there a bit more. And it, of course, helps grow the channel as well. And of course, if you don't want to miss out on a stream or an upload in the future, make sure you do go and hit the bell. Because of course you'll be notified whenever I do go live or do upload a video, so do that as well. But yeah, I appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed so far. Yusuf, good morning, my man. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. I think at the moment now I'm just going to keep a close eye on Aussie CAD. That's my main guy in terms of opportunities. I mean, I do have a few others which I'm looking at, but I think Aussie CAD is the closest one to actually give me an entry. I'll be using the 8 hour for this one. The 4 hours not quite doing it. I mean, I'm seeing signs of support holding. Good, but I need to see a closure above this low, which is basically the idea of the trade. I'm basically looking to see if price can recover that low and potentially give us a swing back to the next kind of major area of supply resistance if we can hold that area. If price is going to stay below this, retest it and drop, then I've got some targets of where we could drop towards, but I'm more keen on the buys right now. So yeah, for now, Aussie CAD is my main interest really. I like the opportunity, ticks the box as well, a nice area for a stop loss. I like the way we kind of had this aggressive sell here as well, because that could potentially attract some sellers into the market or maybe stop out some early buyers. And now if you can recover it, that should give us kind of like, we kind of missed the noise. Now we jump in after everything is settled, after price has recovered support, and hopefully from there we can see a push up. And also, the move has been very corrective on the way down, which again, more often than not, does give you an indication of a push higher. So yeah, I like the way we're moving. I like where we're positioned. I like the way price dumped to the downside. Now I just want to see a strong recovery. If I can see a strong close on the 8 hour, that will kind of say to me, okay, support's holding. That was a bit of a fake out. Let's now see the move. So yeah, Aussie CAD buys is ticking the boxes here. And the risk reward, not too bad as well. At least get 1 to 2 back into resistance there. So I'll be happy with that. And again, there are other pairs. Some other pairs are looking better than Aussie CAD, but they just need a few days probably to actually set up. I'm excited, but I need you with too many screens or many chases. Fair enough, Holy One, fair enough. Have kept it low key, but good to see you still been trading though. That's good. C's integrated. Yeah, fair enough. Mixed with the DXY. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of waiting for some buy setups. Yusuf. Good question as well. Do I approach the market differently during volatile times? No, not really. My overall approach is the same. I'm still looking for the same setups. I'm still looking for the same trades as I was previously. So everything stays the same in terms of strategy and entry. Because I use candlesticks to enter the market, if the market's going to be more volatile, then naturally I'm going to have bigger stop losses as well. So that will change. My average stop loss size will be bigger. Of course, my average target will be bigger as well. But yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest change. But no, because I don't really over risk, I don't over trade. I'm normally in like a maximum of 1 or 2 positions at a time. So, worst that happens, I take 2 losses, which is not the end of the world. So I don't over risk, I don't over trade. So in terms of my trade frequency, in terms of the risk I'm taking for each trade, there's no inherent need to kind of scale anything down or be a little bit more safe. I would suggest if maybe you're on the lower time frames, like a 15-minute chart. And again, there's only so much you can do because anything can happen at any time. You're not going to just not trade for this whole kind of time because, number one, you don't know how long it's going to last. And number two, you could miss some really good opportunities as well. So again, the important thing with trading during volatile times and any time really is just managing your risk and not overexposing yourself, whether that's too many trades or too much risk on a single position. So if you're on the lower time frame, I think just keep it as normal, do as you do, maybe have slightly bigger stop losses. But yeah, the key thing is that, okay, if I was to go and lose a bunch of trades now, am I going to be in place where I can recover? If the answer is yes, you can still recover, then you're doing good. Trading is always about risk and minimizing it to a degree, but you're always going to have to take risk at some point, and volatile times in the market will come and go. We've got situations now, there'll be situations in the future that cause more volatility and more kind of uncertainty. So you don't want to be in a situation where you just don't trade altogether because you're going to miss out on some opportunities. Just make sure your risk is managed. That's the most important thing. If that's ticked, then continue trading as normal is very much my my thinking. In terms of the DXY, so yeah, I mean DXY for the most part is still pretty bearish. We're still seeing lower lows and lower highs, so the market as a whole is still pretty bearish. But yeah, I'm not so interested in shorting because we've already had such a big move. The market's been falling for quite a while. We've even been pretty slow on the way down, so it's not like the trend's been moving smoothly. We've been quite corrective, showing signs of fatigue. So I do think at some point the market is going to see a pretty big move to the upside, but I've got to be patient for that. If we remain bearish, you could go and break the lows and see a big move down, which I wouldn't be surprised with. So USD for now is still pretty bearish, but I am kind of getting ready for some buys. What would be a nice catalyst for me would be a nice break to the upside, taking out some of these highs, and then I try and catch the next pullback after that and ride it to the upside. So I'm liking the buys for the DXY based on where we're positioned, based on how long we've been falling for. I do think there's a decent move higher to be had, but I've just got to be patient, wait for structure to kind of point the direction first, give me a nice break of structure, a nice strong move, then yeah, I can look to follow that. But at the moment, bears are still in control. We could keep falling for all I know. But again, we do have some big news coming out this week. You've got the Fed interest rate, which will of course help in terms of direction as well. I think we might see price kind of slowly bleed until the Fed, I think it's on Wednesday. Or was it Thursday? One of the two. We might see price slowly bleed until then, and then we might see price melt or recover. And that will probably provide us a nice trend, hopefully. But yeah, for the most part, it's still a bearish market, but I'm not so keen on continuing to short this. Nice, bread and butter as always. Have any positions open at the moment, Holy One? Any ideas you're looking to trade? And also, guys, I wanted to mention that I do have some exciting news coming out very, very soon. I do have a project which is launching in a couple of weeks' time, looking at how retail traders and other types of traders as well can use AI instruments to help improve their trading with automated trading bots, AI tools to develop your own strategies or your own indicators as well. And I'm very excited to launch that, guys. So do keep an eye out for that project. Like I said, in a couple of weeks' time, I'll be doing a lot more kind of information and videos on that. So do look out for that as well. But we do have a AI automated bot which is producing some trading signals, and I do want to share that with you guys. So I will drop the link to that Telegram, which will have signals in that Telegram, which you can, again, I wouldn't say just follow blindly. You do want to kind of look at the signals and see if it understands and makes sense to you. Then of course you can look to get involved and see how they do perform and how you can use them to your benefit. Let me get the link. So yeah, feel free to take a look at the Telegram. The link is in the chat. But yeah, free to join at the moment. So take a look, see if you are interested, especially if you're keen to see how AI can help with your trading. How can you use AI to help improve different parts of your trading, whether you want to try and find a trading bot altogether or you want to find an indicator you can develop with AI. Because of course, if you're trying to develop your own indicator, you're going to need to find someone who can code and who can develop that indicator, or if you can code yourself, which of course is going to take time and effort, but AI does kind of bridge the gap. So if you're interested in how AI can improve your trading and how you can utilize it as well, do keep an eye out on that project. We'll have a lot more information coming soon. Bis anime. Usually don't trade on Mondays. I always lose. Well, again, if that's the case, well then taking Mondays off is not a bad idea at all. Again, I think a big part of trading is just doing what works and not doing what doesn't work really. And that's where coming back to review your trades and review your kind of data is very, very powerful, because if you can see a correlation between losing trades and trading on Mondays, well then Mondays is probably a day either to look to see how you can improve it. Is there like an obvious problem you're having? Maybe you're entering too early. That could be the case. Or is it just, okay, the strategy doesn't perform well on Mondays? If that's the case, then don't trade Mondays. But yeah, that's a good decision to make if you can, of course, see those issues are present. Some people do the same with Fridays as well. 2 trades running. Okay. Euro pound buy. Okay. CJ buy as well. About 50% there. Nice. Yeah, Euro pound's been pretty bullish. That was flying to the upside last week. It was pretty flat for a while, and then boom, we had a massive push Tuesday last week, and we've been bullish since there. And yeah, we've been pushing up pretty well. We are coming back into some resistance, so we might start to stall as we get back to the highs here. But for the most part, trend is still looking up, especially intraday as well, which I know you're trading. Holy One, we're still looking pretty bullish there as well. So I think a push back to the highs looks pretty likely at this point. And then we'll go from there. Do we continue or do we reverse? Euro pound's always it's an interesting pair. Euro pound doesn't trend well. It sometimes has really nice kind of breakouts, like you can see here, you can see there. But then if you expand and look at the bigger picture, it's just a very flat market as a whole. But it does have those very kind of sharp moves, because Euro pound's very, very equal. Then when something changes, then it will have a very big explosion. That's kind of what we've had over the past few days. But trend looks good, momentum looks good in intraday. I think you would favor price to push back to highs there, which I probably would I guess that's where your take profit is. 85,380. 85,380. Yeah, more or less the high, or just below it. But yeah, more or less coming back into the high. It makes sense. And then CJ, I assume you're talking about push back into the high there as well. 106.47. That's about there. Not too far away from that either. But yeah, I'm liking the consistency, Holy One. Raheel, Eurocad, yes, we'll take a look. No problem. Yeah, same strategy, 50 break, nothing new. Yeah, I can see from the style of the trades, to be honest. No problem, happy to help. Okay, so if I have missed out a pair, let me know. I feel like someone said a pair and I just haven't looked at it yet. But yeah, Eurocad, not my favorite pair at the moment. I have to be honest. Very kind of messy price action. I think the biggest takeaway is that we are trading some massive areas of supply where we could look to turn around. So I do have kind of a long-term bearish bias, but I wouldn't say the market looks good to short just yet. At the moment, we came back to test a nice area of demand, nice consolidation, really strong move to the upside. We've had a nice test. Actually, we gapped into that actually this morning, and we're looking pretty bullish since there. Now, I wouldn't be trying to look for anything crazy here with Eurocad. I wouldn't be trying to look to swing it back to highs here. Not that we can't end up there, of course we can, but just because of how flat we are, I would just take it kind of level by level. So if I was to get long from here, I think I'll be looking to take the bulk of my profits at resistance. Maybe I might leave a small position to run back to highs just in case if the market was to do that. But the market's so flat, we've just come out of a very choppy range, which we've come back with inside. So it's not like it's been a clear or clean breakout either. I think the consistency with the higher lows here is what's just keeping the market just about bullish. So for the most part, buys look good, but long term, I'm starting to get ready for some sells. Once I start to see some bearish structure, so maybe a strong break of the trend line, the lower highs after that, then I'm interested in shorts. There's a pretty big level below us over here. You can see the numerous rejections of this area. We had a sharp breakout not too long ago, and we haven't come back to retest it yet. So once the market does shift bearish, I think that's where the market's likely to end up. So I like the shorts. I think that's where the bigger move will be. But have to be patient. Don't want to be shorting the market whilst we're still bullish. Yeah, that's a quick way to give back your profits to the market. But yeah, from an intraday standpoint, I think buys still look good. Let's see if we can come back and revisit. See maybe a nice double bottom there. I think that's a nice buy. And a push back to 1.582, I think makes sense as well for a target. Euro pound, yes, we'll take a look at, no problem. Yusuf, thoughts on Euro USD? Okay, assuming 50-minute chart, we will take a look. Yes, I have started trading indices. I haven't been as frequent as I've wanted to be, but I have taken a couple trades on US 30. I'm starting to back test the NAS as well, so hopefully in the next couple of months I could look to add NAS to the watch list. But yeah, I have taken a couple of positions on US 30 this year. Again, I do trade over 30 markets, so when I do look at a market, I probably don't take more than 3 or 4 trades on a market per year. Because of course I traded 30, so if you do the maths, that's like 120 trades a year, which is kind of roughly where I'm at. But yeah, I've taken a couple of trades so far this year. It's been not bad, to be honest. I'm using a trailing stops technique because I'm trying to take advantage of the conditions of US 30, because it's a lot different to FX, where we kind of have very kind of big pullbacks in FX. US 30, when the conditions are right, we can rip to the upside quite well. I'm actually currently looking at US 30 to get into some opportunities. I'll go through that one shortly. Then we should go through some requests first. We'll go through the indices actually. I haven't actually taken a look at any of the indices yet on the stream, so we'll go through some of them as well. But yeah, euro pound, as I mentioned, at the moment still pretty bullish. From a swing point of view, I like the level down here. We kind of had a nice inverse head and shoulder pattern here. So you got a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. A weird one, but it will do. And left behind a really nice neckline there. So I like what I'm seeing with euro pound, because we've got this structure here: low, high, low, high, low, possibly a push back to the highs. Again, long way to go. I'm not putting any pressure on euro pound getting back there. It's not a very trendy market, so I wouldn't be having targets up there personally. But we have pulled back into a nice area of demand. Price had a nice reaction from that as well, giving us that inverse head and shoulder. So I think if we can see price revisit this, it would be a smart place for a buy, because not only are we seeing the overall structure bullish and price respecting to demand, we've also got that inverse head and shoulder pattern, which is kind of in play as well. So we've got confluence for a move to the upside, which is a good thing. And we've got good momentum as well. It's not like price correctively pushed high. We saw a really strong move high there. So it kind of shows us that the buyers are in control of the market, and we're still likely to push high. So if we could see a pullback into this level, I think that'll be a smart place for a buy. Then yeah, keeping things simple, a push back to resistance, I think makes a load of sense there. So euro pound for the most part still bullish. Keep an eye on 0.845. I think that's a smart place for a buy. And yeah, naturally targets back at the high or wherever we form the high. Let's say if we were to create a new high, then pull back, well, then that would become the target for the trade. In terms of Euro USD on the 15, so 15-minute chart Euro USD looks pretty bullish to me. I'm liking the market structure. To be honest, I'm liking what I'm seeing, because we've had some bearish structure come into play recently. We've gone and broken that structure just about, and now we've seen a higher low, and now we've seen a higher high. So I would be pretty bullish here for Euro USD. Keep an eye out on this area for a long. So if we can pull back into here, higher low, nice double bottom potentially, I think that would be a smart place for a buy, maybe even a tag with that trend line. And again, naturally targets at least back to the high here. But I do think we can just continue the overall trend back to resistance, which will take us to 1.161. Again, daily chart, bullish. 4-hour chart, bullish. Hourly chart, bullish. So you got bullish price action upon bullish price action here for euro. So I think buys is just the best way to get involved, because if the market is bullish on numerous time frames, trying to go against that on the 15 is going to be quite difficult, at least for a sustained period. But yeah, for now, bullish structure looking really good. Really nice momentum. You got a nice area of demand here. Brief pause, strong move to the upside. Nice trend line creating higher lows. Let's see if we can catch the next one. So yeah, Euro USD looking really good. I like what I'm seeing. Expecting a push back to highs. Pound USD, I doubt it's going to be as clear. Yeah, so pound USD just a bit more flat. I mean, it's still very much a bullish market in higher time frames. So in terms of the confluence, it's actually quite similar to euro. You know, daily, 4-hour, hourly, all bullish. But would I be trying to look to buy a pound? Probably not, to be honest. If I had to, I'd probably wait for another push into the low here, and then try and catch a buy off the low, because we are just about creating some bullish structure here with these major swing highs. You can see they're just about higher than the previous one. So, you know, we might see price have another push into support, create another higher low, and from there we rally. And that would be the smartest place for a long as well, because if you can find some entries here, you're away from all the noise. You know, this is a lot of fluctuation, a lot of up and down. Don't really want to be entering inside of here, but if you can push into the lows, maybe even take out some of the lows as well, I think you're positioning yourself well in terms of risk to reward, and just in terms of having a safe stop loss as well, and maybe capitalizing on another swing to resistance as well. So yeah, pound USD for the most part, still a pretty bullish pair. I think there's a lot more upside to be had with this one. Yeah, I'll just keep a close eye on 1.352 for a buy. I wouldn't do anything with current price up there. In terms of, was it UJ you said, dollar yen? So yeah, dollar yen. Yeah, I'm not a fan of dollar yen. It's a market that I am considering. It's just ranging really on the 4-hour chart. You've got resistance up there. You've got support down here. Price for the most part is just fluctuating between both of these levels. So I don't think this is a worthwhile market to trade in that current environment. I would wait for price to break out. So if you can see price clear resistance here, well, that would interest me because at that point I'd be looking for a push to the swing high up there. So if you can get a retest of support, boom, that's what I'll be looking at. And of course, if you break support here, well, then I'll be looking at push back into this low. And then something like this would interest me. I know this is from a 4-hour standpoint, but you know, it does play a part. If the higher time frames are consolidating, you have to take that into consideration on the lower time frames as well. But this is really what I'm waiting for in the 4-hour. So if I drop to the 15, there's no kind of consistency in terms of a trend. And that's the key thing I'm looking for. Is the market consistently giving me higher highs and higher lows, or lower lows and lower highs? If it is, then I can derive a bias from that. Even if it isn't doing that, let's say if we're just pushing at major resistance, well, that gives me something where I can trade from, or major support. If it's in the middle of everything, which is where price is right now, not that you can't find a trade, but that just gives you, you know, just not the ultimate place to buy or sell. You know, if you think about it in terms of like you know, if you go to a market on the weekend, try and look to buy something, you're haggling to try and get something at a good price. You know, this is kind of the average market price. You know, whether it's too high of a price or too low of a price, this is kind of the areas which you want to be in. I mean, of course, if it's too high, not necessarily looking to buy it, but if it's too low, at least you got some value there. If it's just right, again, maybe not the best kind of analogy, but you get my point. If it's in the middle, that's where all the people are going to be, and that's just where a lot of uncertainty will be. Where at the low, you can use that to your advantage. Yeah, definitely the best analogy. I think I was trying to go with something, it didn't quite work out. But yeah, I would avoid trading inside the middle. Focus on the extremes of the range. And in terms of GJ, you mentioned no gold. Oh, you didn't mention pound USD. Thought you did. GJ and gold. Yeah, pound yen 15-minute chart. Let me get rid of this. This is more 4-hour analysis. So yeah, 15-minute chart. Pound yen not looking great either, because of course we've got major resistance prices moving towards. You might be able to get away with a sneaky buy into that area. We're being pretty consistent with these higher lows here. Let's say if we're to push back into this area, maybe double bottom, you might get a nice swing there back into resistance, but I'd probably call it a day because that is still major resistance, and price could very much turn against us there. So I'll be careful of that, but we are pretty consistent here. I think there is somewhat of a trend there to follow. Again, I'd rather trade euro. I think euro looks a lot cleaner, but I think pound yen has an up move there in store for us. And in terms of gold, gold on the 15, again, these are kind of my 4-hour point of view, but we've got a nice retest opportunity there. I think from a 15-minute perspective, I'll probably focus on maybe this area. Nice range, did break with a lot of momentum. If we can come back and retest that, I think that'll be a smart place for a buy. And you can see a swing back into resistance, 34.50 and probably beyond as well. And you can take out some of these lows as well whilst we're at it. Hopefully that can add some liquidity in and help start a bullish move. So yeah, gold to me, higher time frames very bullish. I'll be focused on trying to take buys here on the lower time frames as well. We just cleared some highs there not too long ago. We left behind a very nice area of demand, which we haven't come back to revisit yet. So yeah, I think that's a very smart place for a buy, and naturally targets back to the high makes the most sense. So yeah, hopefully that makes some sense there with gold. Still very bullish, still giving us higher highs and higher lows. As long as that remains the case, I think we can push back to highs. Stefan, gold 15. Just had a look to that. What are the odds? But yeah, like I said, 15, I'll just focus on that zone. 3,400 looks the best to me. 3,400 to like 3,380, that kind of zone there. We might have a deep test of it, but more or less that's where I think the buys look good. And hopefully a swing back to highs as well. Dollar CHF, Antonio, no problem. I don't know. I think probably taking some time off as well. To be fair, that kind of how it goes. Like, people come and go. Of course, some people stay like furniture. But again, you know, it's a long commitment as well, and you know, other things come up. You know, people's lifestyle changes. You got other commitments to you know, like if you're in studies or you got a full-time job, maybe that can get in the way of things as well. But of course, happy to see new people on the stream as well. If you are new here, please be free. Please be free. Please be free. Please feel free. There we go. Can't get my words out today. Please be free. Feel free to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, it does really help out. So I do really appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Let's go take a look at dollar CHF. So with USD CHF, I think sells still look relatively good here. I do think there's still a little bit more downside. Now, this is an interesting one because we do have Swiss interest rates coming out later this week, and I'm expecting to see a weak Swiss, which is interesting because the dollar is already weak right now. So it's kind of, okay, who's going to be the weaker currency? Is it going to be USD or is it going to be Swiss? And of course, that would determine the direction of dollar CHF. From a technical standpoint, everything is looking pretty bearish already. We're still seeing very consistent lower highs here. So that would keep me bearish here for now for dollar CHF. We've got a lovely area, lovely consolidation, which price kind of was sideways for. Very strong drop to the downside. I still do think price can take out these lows and see some new lows. So if we can see a bit of a pullback, I would expect price to rip through the lows pretty soon. And again, if I expand to the weekly chart, you can see the break and retest we had on the weekly time frame, which was pretty significant and which kind of does keep me bearish from a higher time frame point of view. You can see significant support there once, twice. We broke through that with a massive bearish candle. Then we came back for a really nice retest, sharp wick through the zone. Price then closed pretty bearish with the following weekly candle. So I do think price is likely to go and rip through these lows here and see some new lows. So from a higher time frame point of view, we're seeing bearish structure, and lower time frame, we've got some nice structure formed already. So I think if we can see a retest of the zone, see some healthy rejection, that would be a smart place to short. Hopefully catch the next swing low and a push into the lows there makes the most sense. So yeah, dollar CHF, bearish bias. Pound yen bias. Pound yen's a bit flat. So I'm not so keen to trade pound yen until I can see price commit outside of this kind of wedge pattern, really. I mean, I would favor us to break higher. So if I had to pick a direction, it would be bullish for pound yen. But again, I'm not willing to trade that bias until I see price clear resistance and provide some break and retest opportunities. Something like that. So clear the resistance, retest it. Now I've got some targets up at the highs there, just below 200, which look like a really good target to me back at the major daily high there. So pound yen, I kind of do have a bullish bias. I think price is likely to break higher. The reason I say that is because we've been very consistent with the higher lows. We've just about broken structure as well. And we had a very aggressive sell here. So if the trend was to continue, I wouldn't have expected such a big retracement. So that's kind of why I expect price to break higher for pound yen. But Of course, with all that said, there's still an opportunity until we actually break the high. So that's the main thing we're waiting for. Then yeah, a retest of 196, 250 more or less. And hopefully we can trade that back to 199. So that's the real kind of opportunity I'm waiting for pound yen. So yeah, I would be bullish bias on pound yen, but that's not confirmed yet until we get the break of that resistance. Then yeah, I would be looking for buying opportunities after that. But the yen basket has been a bit all over the place, of course, with recent events globally, a lot of uncertainty. You expect the yen to be heavily bought because when things are uncertain, times of panic, the yen is a safe haven currency. So a lot of money gets put into the yen, but we haven't really seen that strength, which is interesting. I mean, we did see it a bit towards the end of last week, but nothing really significant. Nothing like a trend forming. Price is still rejecting this trend line very well here, staying consistent with those lower highs. So the yen isn't as bullish as I thought it would be. We still do have lows here. Of course, that can change though. We still do have support down here, which I think price is still likely to come back and retest. So I do still think we can see a bit more downside for the yen. And then we'll go from there. Maybe we do bounce, maybe things do turn around from there, or maybe we have a big breakout. At the moment, I think we can still see a bit more downside. So that's what I'm favoring. But then I'll see how price reacts with this support level, and then that will make up my next bias, my next expectation for pound yen. Whether we see some healthy rejection or we see price action, we see price break through the level. But yeah, the yen, I think we can still fall a little bit, so that should help pound yen push higher. But we'll see. No problem, Antonio, happy to help. Okay, let me go through some of the indices because I was supposed to go through them earlier. So yeah, US 30, I still do like this one to the upside. I mean, for the most part, US 30, US 100, S&P, I'm bullish long term with these guys. I do think, of course, everyone's bullish long term, but I mean kind of like I'm expecting a push back to the all-time highs. For them, we've had a very kind of sharp recovery since the sell-off earlier this year. Prices recovered that quite, more so on the S&P and the NAS. US 30 not as much, but I do think we are likely to head back to highs now, and we're just going to see an uptrend there. In terms of buying US 30, I'm waiting to see if we can clear resistance here, because we are finding it a little bit hard trying to clear 43K right now. We had a trend line here keeping us bullish, but we broke through that pretty aggressively Thursday, Friday last week, and we've had a bit of a sell-off. I'm still treating this as a pullback, so I'm still expecting something like that to happen. I wouldn't mind some long opportunities off the low here. Maybe a big double bottom does form. I wouldn't mind that for an entry. I think the better one would be if we can continue with the higher lows, break resistance, and then hopefully use that as support. And yeah, I would be trying to look to hold on back to the highs at 45K roughly. I think US 30 has a lot of catching up to do. If you look at the NAS, if you look at the S&P, they're actually quite close to the all-time highs. US 30 is still quite far away, so I think this has got some opportunity in terms of catching up, which might provide some better risk-reward plays. But in terms of opportunities, these are the two I'm looking at. We haven't really pulled back into any significant price action right now, so I wouldn't be trying to look to buy the market just yet. I would still argue that we're pretty bearish on the lower time frames, but if we were to come back to retest support there, we'll climb back above that level. I think that would be a smart place for a buy. NAS 100 still looking pretty bullish to me. We had a slight dip as well. I mean, they all kind of broke out their respective trend lines, so you can see NAS 100 kind of broke out the trend line as well. Not as a big of a breakout as US 30. But still, we did make that break. It looks like we have found some resistance, turn support back here, and is doing a pretty good job at keeping the market bullish. So perhaps this could be another higher low. I wouldn't actually mind the double bottom here, then a continuation back to highs. I think that's still a smart buy. Kind of continue with these high lows here. I think that would be a smart buy for NAS, and then targets back to 22k, and then some new highs past 22,200, we'll call it. And then for the S&P, again, this one did break through the trend line as well, but nothing really significant. Looks like for the most part, resistance there still holding as support. Again, still expecting a swing back to 61k. 61k, not 61k, sorry, 6100. And some new highs past that point as well. So again, I feel like a nice double bottom, despite the low. That might be a nice buy there for the S&P. So yeah, S&P, NAS, US 30, all giving me consistent higher highs and higher lows. So I do think they are still likely to trend higher. Of course, we've had a bit of a panic sell, but none of them have taken up any significant structure. All right, take care, Yusuf. Have a good one. Go get back to class. Yeah, as we just mentioned. Okay, have a good day, my man. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. But yeah, indices still looking pretty bullish. And if you take a look at the DAX, yeah, the DAX has had a pretty big retracement, to be fair. So the DAX is probably one of the more bearish of the indices right now, but we are respecting some major resistance, turn support here. The last major swing high, looks like price is doing a pretty good job at respecting that. I do think this is a smart place for a buy. We're actually mentioning this area on Friday's stream, I believe, when we had the drop. Yeah, for some buys here. I still think price can return back to highs, of course. I mean, overall, the way I'm looking at the DAX is that we've had a very bullish market, but we just became very fatigued. Hence the corrective nature of price, and now we just had a bigger pullback. But I still think the bigger move is likely back to highs. Even if we do break through this, you know, it will just give us a pullback. Maybe not to the 50, but 0.382, something a bit more reasonable there. There's some support here on our left. I think that could be a realistic expectation there for the DAX, and then yeah, back to high. So, you know, indices, I think if you're a buyer, you should be looking okay. Of course, doesn't mean you're guaranteed to make a profit, but I think that's where the likely momentum in the bigger move will be. So if you position yourself well, you give yourself a good chance to do that. Pascal, welcome to the stream. You're new. Welcome. Nice job. Appreciate it. Yeah. Welcome to the stream. I do go live every weekday, so Monday to Friday, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. That's kind of my live broadcasting hours. I chat pretty much all markets here: crypto, indices, metals, the commodities. Forex is my main forte. Don't know why I mentioned that last. That's the main thing I focus on. But yeah, I go through any positions I'm trading, anything I'm looking at to trade. Of course, anyone who has any pairs they want to share with the stream, or any trades they want to share with the stream, you can always drop it down in the chat. If you want my opinion on anything, you can drop it in the chat as well. But above all, here to have a good time and trade some FX. But yeah, welcome. Hope you're good. Of course, guys, if you are enjoying the content, please do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Really appreciate everyone who has done so. Go through CAD pairs. Oil is rising. Yeah, CAD, of course, in an interesting situation. Oil in an interesting situation. Of course, with scares around the war, we are seeing a very kind of volatile oil, and we did see a very aggressive move, of course, on, was it Thursday or Friday? Friday. Very aggressive move on Friday. Well, it started on Thursday actually. Yeah, and it bled into Friday. So yeah, with that, typically with oil prices go up, typically CAD does gain strength because, of course, oil is a big export of Canada, but of course it's not in the same situation. Oil's being affected elsewhere globally. But yeah, CAD pairs, not my favorite at the moment. There are a couple I'm looking at. Actually, Aussie CAD is actually a pair I do like a lot. But in terms of oil, I am looking for a big bounce at 66. It's a very, very big level on the higher time frames. It's the daily chart. You can see we held price pretty much since March 2023. It's provided a lot of support. And now since then, prices, of course, recovered very substantially. So if price was to come back to retest the zone, I would expect buyers to be looking to jump back into the market. And let's see if we can get a reaction from that. Kind of treating this as a big fake out of the support level. So simply retest it. We should be on our way. So I think there could be some nice buys following that for the oil if we can get to test that level. We might not even see the retest, but if we do, that would be great. But yeah, there is a CAD pair which I do like, which is Aussie CAD. I'm looking to see if I can find some buys here on the 8-hour chart. Reason for that is because price is trading at a very significant low here. You can see we got a nice move to the upside. Price then ran through those lows very aggressively. We have since then recovered it. I'm simply looking to see if we can continue to respect that and then see a rally back to highs, back into resistance. At the moment, we did actually break through the support with this bearish candle last Friday. So after that, kind of backed away. But I'm still bullish because I don't think this is a breakout for price to continue falling. I think this is a breakout to maybe knock some people out of some early buys who would have some stop losses underneath that low, and maybe trap some sellers on the wrong side of the market. So I'm kind of just biding my time, and if I can see price close back above support in the next 2 hours and 17 minutes, I would be looking to try and take an entry, something like this, stops below the low, and then looking to swing it back into this area of supply, which should give me at least a 1 to 2, hopefully a little bit more than that. But yeah, very, very strong low. I like the way we kind of recovered this area. And for the most part, very corrective pullback as well. Typically when you're seeing corrective pullbacks like this, it's normally an indication that price is getting ready for a bigger move to the upside. So Aussie CAD I am bullish on. Just need to see price close above support, and then I'm back in with a position. Yeah, so Aussie CAD is the only CAD pair I do like. Euro CAD again looks somewhat bullish as well. I find it very flat, not really trading at any real area of significance that does interest me. There is some consistency with the higher lows there, which I've highlighted. And of course, the overall trend for EuroCAD is still very much, bullish as a whole. So naturally, you would probably have a bullish bias with this one. Yeah, we did break out this consolidation here for a relatively nice breakout. Wasn't the most impulsive breakout in the world, but it does the job, cleared some highs. Now, I did say price can give us a double bottom here. That could end up being a nice entry. A nice entry to take it back into resistance. But because the market is very flat, I just don't think it's a high quality trade. So I'm staying away from EuroCAD for now. I would be bullish on the pair, at least the short kind of medium term. I would be bullish on the pair. I think longer term we might have a big reversal soon, but for now the market is still bullish. Pound CAD, even worse to be honest. Yeah, I think with this one I'm not particularly keen with pound CAD. I mean, there's some areas down here which I think we can still come back and retest, but the market is just so flat right now. Not really seeing momentum up or down. Look how corrected this move was, and look how corrected this move was. So it's not like the market's correctively pushed up and then sold off aggressively. It's kind of correctly moving back down. So the price action just really isn't worth trading in my book. So staying away from pound CAD for now. I do think we can probably still see lower prices before we do push up. There's some major support here around 1.835. I think there could be some nice sells on the way back down as well if you can maintain those lower highs. So you might be able to catch another low high as long as we maintain that structure. But yeah, if I was looking to trade pound CAD, I wouldn't be trying to hold positions for too long, just because the market is so flat, not seeing any momentum anywhere. And then yeah, New Zealand CAD very flat as well. I think my focus will just remain at support here. We're respecting it, so at the moment I would be bullish, but if price can break through support here, then that would make me pretty bearish on the pair. Because for the most part, New Zealand CAD has been ranging. But yeah, we'll see what price does at that support level. But yeah, out of the CAD pairs, Aussie CAD for me looks the best, so just waiting for some entries there. What's up, Malik? Welcome to the stream. It has been a while. I am doing good. Hope you're well. How have you been, my man? Welcome back to the stream. Open mind coding. What's up? Yes, it's not common though. Most of my trades are kind of before 10 a.m., which is kind of why I do trade around 10 to 12, because that's kind of my least active periods. My most active is before 10 a.m. and then of course New York session from like 12 to like maybe 4 or 5 p.m. But yeah, if there's a trade on stream, I do take trades as well. I've taken a few in the past, but this is not my high probability entry time. Excuse me. Do you have any entry? No, my most recent trade was Aussie CHF, which I was trailed out for break even last week. I don't have any entries at the moment. Aussie CAD, hopefully I can get an entry with that one this afternoon, so I'll talk a lot more about that probably tomorrow, in tomorrow's stream if I do get the entry. But this was my last trade. Yeah, this is the last trade I had open. Looking for a swing back into the highs here, basically trying to catch a pullback of this move and then a continuation back to highs. I still think that's the likely bigger move. For Aussie CHF, we're coming from all-time lows, so I do think the market is just naturally going to have a big recovery. So I was trying to take advantage of that. Caught a nice double bottom here, strong shift in momentum with that bullish engulfing candle, and that's really how I formalized my entries, waiting for price to respect support and then give me a strong shift in momentum, which most of the time comes from bullish engulfing candles, of course bearish engulfing candles if I'm looking to sell. I look at a lot of wicks as well. This is not the biggest wick. It's nice to have wicks into a support, kind of adds to the probability of price turning around. Again, not the biggest wick. It would be nice if it was bigger, but the bullish engulfing candle was more than enough for an entry. So yeah, did see a nice move into my favor. We broke through some highs here, which is where I trail stops to break even. And then yeah, after that sell off on Wednesday, I think we had CPI there, and that did knock me out my position for break even. But I still do think we can see more upside. But at the moment, structure's looking pretty bearish right now. So I'm kind of waiting for us to shift, maybe something like this, to find an entry to get back in. But that might take a few days. But yeah, that's my most recent trade. But hopefully this time tomorrow, I'll be in some longs for Aussie CAD if I can see an entry. Okay, no problem, Holy One. Take care, my man. Good to see you as well. Have a good one. No problem, Pascal. Happy to help. Junior Blanco, good morning. Your thoughts? We will go over that now. Happy to help, Julius. So yeah, Euro USD, still very bullish on this one. We still do have higher highs and higher lows. You know, the 4-hour trend is still very much intact. I'm not so keen to keep buying this because we are quite stretched. We've been bullish since the start of the year. Yeah, this is the biggest pullback we've had. And the most recent bullish leg has been pretty corrective as well. It's not like price has been steamrolling to the upside of some big candles. It's been very corrective. So I do think Euro USD sooner or later will go through a bit of a sell-off, but I have to be patient, not look to jump the gun there, because at the moment the buyers are very much in control of the market. So from a kind of intra-week, not really intraday, intra-week kind of trade idea, I don't mind the double bottom here for a buy. Yeah, this has proven to be a solid level of resistance. Price just about tapped into that on Friday. If we were to have one more down move, come back to retest support, I think that would be a nice place for a buy back into resistance and maybe a bit further as well. Kind of still taking advantage of that uptrend, not looking for anything too crazy. I think that still makes sense. In terms of looking to sell the market, I'm waiting for price to go and break structure. So if we can take out a low like this, that'll prove to me, okay, the sellers are coming back into the market. Maybe we are topping out, and then I can look for some type of lower high for some shorts, later onwards. So the shorts I think are coming, but I have to stay patient. There's no break of structure. Structure's still up. Buyers are still in control. So as long as that remains the same, buyers still remain in control, the structure still remains bullish. There's some nice opportunities for a break and retest there. And naturally a swing back into highs. So for now, Euro USD still pretty bullish. Of course, DXY, that looks still pretty bearish to me as well. I mean, this retests the resistance very well. It would be nice if the dollar can come back and retest it again. We might just sell off, to be honest. But if it was to come back and retest it, that would be a nice entry. Kind of lines up well with the euro bias as well. Then push back to lows, and then we'll go from there. But USD for now, you can see the consistency of the lower highs. Everything is pointing down for the dollar, and everything is pointing up for euro. So for now, still very bullish. No problem. Happy to help, Julius. Happy to help. And I mean, that's the kind of the bias I have with the USD pairs. Dollar is weak right now, but I do think there's a big reversal, at least counter trend move. It might turn into a reversal. It might just be a big pullback. But I do think there's some upside on the cards for the dollar. So I'm waiting, biding my time before I do get into any trades. Aussie dollar, I still like the shorts with this one. Very corrective on the way up. Again, I do think a big retracements on the cards for this one. I'm waiting to see if we can push to the upper end of the channel first. And then we can speak about some shorts slightly afterwards. But yeah, I want price to kind of break away from all of this noise here, because that's kind of where we've got a lot of that consolidation. And if price is consolidating like that, it's not going to buy well, because that means there'll be a pool of stops above the high here, which I believe has a good chance of getting run. And that could help with my trade as well. Run through the highs, then reject, then get the sell. And that adds to the confidence of the trade. So New Zealand, Aussie dollar, waiting for some sell opportunities there. Dollar CAD, I'm waiting for some buying opportunities down there as well. Price is trading at major areas of demand here. As you can see, big push up. Well, there again, I'm waiting for some buys, but just being patient. And pound USD as well. I'm actually waiting for some sells, but I need price to break back below this level here. If price can break below that, that would prove to me that, okay, we're shifting in structure, and we could see a lower high and some shorts after that as well. And then, I'll be looking at push back into this low, and maybe some areas down there as well. But USD pairs for now are bullish. I mean, pound's still bullish for now. Just the time horizon and the type of moves I'm looking for. Looking to follow those trends is not really what I'm interested in. Looking to try and take the reverse of that. But you have to be very careful, because if you're going to go against momentum, you need to wait for structure to shift in your favor. If price is still going to give you higher highs and higher lows, that means the market's still bullish. We're still likely to push higher. But there is one pair which I don't mind shorting for USD, which is dollar CHF. I think this is actually still quite a nice short. And I say that because we haven't taken out the lows yet. Euro USD has taken out the highs, so we've done our job. We've taken out the highs, we've taken out liquidity. Price now potentially might be ready for a retracement. Dollar CHF hasn't quite done that yet. So I feel like there is still another drop to be had with this one. We will have to be careful, because we do have Swiss news this week as well, and I'm expecting to see a bearish CHF. So if that does happen, that might skew things. If we do see price go and break structure, then I'll be actually looking to buy the pair. But let's say if we stay corrective, respect resistance well, then I do think we can see a nice short back into the low there, and just keep things relatively simple. Hopefully a nice 1 to 2. off the back of that. But yeah, in terms of the watch list right now, I think for me it's just Aussie CAD, the main one I'm looking at. I want to keep an eye on Euro Yen. We've got yen interest rates, I think either Tuesday or Wednesday morning. The rates are expected to stay the same, so might not see a crazy move, but things could still get very interesting there. But yeah, Euro Yen trading at major highs right now. I think this is a smart place to be looking to short. I'm still not quite sold on a move back to the highs there. I think the likely move is still a push down. So I'm waiting for structure to shift over here. Maybe a nice break of structure will do the job. And I can look for some lower highs to take it back down again. I think there's a really big move to be had. Of course, I'm not going to be looking for such a big move in one go. Probably be a situation where I take profits along the way and look for additional entries later onwards. But in terms of where we're trading, it's definitely a significant point. And if we are going to sell off, this is kind of where I expect us to sell off from. So Euro Yen, keen eye on price at that area. And Swiss Yen, basically the same situation. You can see where we're trading, major resistance. If we're going to sell off, I think this is a very likely area for that to happen. You can see how corrected we are, so we're not really seeing much momentum anyway. I need to see those lower highs come into play first. And then maybe I can find some shorts later on. And again, the reason why I'm liking these shorts is because I expect to see a big move come from them. So in terms of risk to reward, could be looking at some big moves back into support there, 166. And again, not necessarily trying to take advantage of the whole move. Even if I take advantage of half back to there, I'll still walk away for a pretty decent risk to reward. So, you want to be in trades where there's a big kind of opportunity for the market to move quite far. If you're taking trades where the market's only likely to move a little bit, in terms of kind of what you're exposing yourself to, might not be worth the risk. But if you can refine risk up here somewhere, you're giving yourself a decent opportunity for a swing. And again, of course, I could be wrong. If the trend stays bullish and we keep pushing, I'll let price do what it needs to do. And if it wants to go and take out highs, it can go and take out highs and I won't partake. But if I do see that structure shift, I'll look for opportunities. You're saying different things each time you visit the pair. Which pair did I say something different for? The analysis has been pretty much the same since last week, really. No problem, DMart. Happy to help. But yeah, the analysis has been pretty much the same for the past couple of weeks for the yen pairs. I haven't said anything different for them. And USD pairs, same thing as well. I mean, I do talk about both opportunities as well. I think that's probably what you mean. I do talk about opportunities in both directions. For example, Euro USD, I'm getting ready for sales, but at the moment the market's still bullish. So I have talked about buying opportunities here, but I also said that I'm waiting for a sell. And I am waiting for a sell, but at the moment the market's still bullish, so there are still buying opportunities. So I am looking at the market from both sides as well. It's not a situation where, okay, I'm just waiting to short. The market can, of course, give buying opportunities and selling opportunities at the same time. But in terms of the analysis and the idea of the trade, it's been the exact same for the past couple of weeks for pretty much all pairs. Maybe the crosses I've changed the analysis, but new structures has come through and we've seen some break of structures for them. USD, things have shifted there as well. So I have been pretty bearish on this pair. But now, because we did take up the highs, I'm going to have to rethink things. But yeah, Aussie CAD will be the focus. So I'll let you guys know if I do get any entries for that one. I need to see price close above there before I get an entry. And if they do, if it does close above, then I'll take a position and I'll look for a push into 0.91 at that point. But I do think we can go a lot further as well. But I'll probably just lock in most of my gains and just leave a small position to trail. But anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. If you do want to check out the Discord, it is linked in the description below. It's completely free to join. You can share your ideas there. I share some of my ideas there as well. If you want to discuss different trading opportunities with myself and other traders, you can join the community and go check it out there. It's also linked at the top of the chat. Before you do leave, drop a like and subscribe. It does really help out. Hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. I'll be live again tomorrow. Of course, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'm live every weekday. So I hope to see each and every one of you there as well. I'll keep you updated on the Aussie CAD idea. If I do get an entry, we'll go through it tomorrow's stream. But if not, of course, I'll leave it alone. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.